everyone, it's Elizabeth here, and in today's video I want to talk about conflict on project teams. Projects can be a hotbed of conflict, from the difficult stakeholder who doesn't want to sign off any changes, to the team members who are disagreeing about how best to approach requirements. There is a ton of things that can go wrong on a project and lead to conflict. Projects tend to be the place where we see conflict often in the workplace because we are changing things. And as project managers, we contribute massively to the conflict because we go out looking for it. As a project manager, you are looking for things that might go wrong. You're putting things on your risk register. You are bringing issues to the front and making people talk about them. So we have a massive potential to identify and deal with conflict on our projects because it's part of the job. It's part of what we are expected to do. That's good. Conflict can be healthy if it's dealt with and managed in a sensible way. And it is good to challenge requirements and to make sure that people know what they're doing. And it is good to raise some of these issues. However, it can be an awkward situation to be in if you are then trying to deal with the conflict that your team finds itself in. So I want to talk about this in this video, the types of conflict that we might see going through a project, and then in the subsequent video we will look at how you can actually go ahead and deal with those and make them less of a scary situation to be in. So firstly, let's define conflict, and I like to use the definition, which is conflict happens when two or more people disagree and one of them, or perhaps both of them, wants to make or just chooses to make an issue out of it. I use that definition because you can disagree with someone else and it not be a problem. It could be perfectly fine to have two different opinions on the team. Nobody's making a big deal about it. You move past it straight away, you move on. But a disagreement, a conflict that you have to resolve, happens when somebody is not happy with that option of letting it all go and wants to make an issue, make a big deal or even a small deal out of having this discussion. So let's now look at where you get conflict through the project life cycle and what could it involve. So conflict can happen at any point during the project life cycle, obviously, but you tend to see different types of conflict at different points. When you're at the beginning of the project, in the concept phase where you're looking for ideas, you're building out a business case, there could be conflict between the person who's preparing those ideas and the people who are coming up with input into the business case, telling them the ideas will or will not work. So that could be conflict around the problem. What is the problem that we're trying to solve and what is the right solution? There could be conflict between the sponsor and the person who is going to be doing the project management around how to conceptualize the requirements and how are you going to deliver them? What's the delivery approach going to be? And they might have strong views about how that should be delivered, as a project manager would have strong views, and if the views don't align, that's when you have a problem. You could also have a conflict between the person producing the business case, or your project sponsor in effect, and the portfolio management, senior management team who are approving projects to go forward to the next step. Because if that approval doesn't happen, that can cause conflict as well. And I'm sure you can think of loads of other ideas of where conflict might happen at that early point in the project. When you start moving through your project, you're then going into the definition phase and you've got your project approved. You now have to really scope out exactly what it is that you're going to deliver. Your project is being fully scoped, it's being fully planned, and you're talking a lot about what are we doing, how are we going to get there, who are we going to use. So there's a massive scope for conflict here, from trying to get resources, conflicts between project team and line management teams, because of the level of detail of planning. I often see that there's conflict between sponsors who want you to just go, start the work today, and project managers who would rather take a view that says, actually, we need to plan this properly. We need to work out what we're doing before we dive in. And that can cause conflict. There might be a need to take things out of scope because once you've done that planning, you suddenly find that you can't deliver everything you wanted to with the requirement, with the budget or the resources that you've got. So there might be conflict there too. And then you're setting up supply relationships. So there could be some conflict between you and a supplier, or the procurement process may well flesh out conflict. So in that planning phase, you're getting a lot of conflicts around basically the clarification of what it is you're going to do and how you're going to do it, potentially. Right, but once you've sorted all of that, your project moves forward to the development phase, and you can see conflict in this development phase as well. Because you are fixing problems, this is quite a high area for conflict. All of these areas are high areas for conflict on a project life cycle, but you can get quite a lot of conflict in the delivery, build, execution, development, whatever it is that you call this phase. Lots of potential for sparks to fly. For example, you'll be dealing with changes to scope, changes to requirements. You'll be asking for potentially more money as a result of poor estimating, or changes to scope that want to put new requirements in. You might be conflicted with line managers who don't want to release their team members any longer, even if perhaps earlier on in the project they said that was fine. So team leaders may well have problems that they are bringing to the fore that cause a conflict on the team. You might well have, so a lot of the stuff in this phase is around resource and task allocation. People, you can't get the people, or the people don't want to do the job, or can't do the job for whatever reason. So that's going to cause a lot of tension between the project manager, the sponsor and the team as you're trying to get things through. A further cause of conflict when you're in the middle of doing delivery could be to do with quality. If you've got a project where high quality is a real essential, then, and you're finding that you can't deliver a high quality result because of whatever, then that is going to cause conflict as well, especially if people on the team feel that somebody is coming in to check their work. That might not go down too well. So it's really important to deal with conflict quickly in this part of the project, because you really just want to get everybody back to work, get over it and move on. The final part of the project lifecycle is close down. So hand over the solution, the deliverable, whatever it is you've made, and close the project. You'd imagine that this part of a project is pretty conflict free, because you've built the thing already and everybody should be happy that you've done it, and you're giving the requirements, you're giving the deliverable to the team who's going to love it and cherish it from now on. I don't think in real life that's the case. You'll often find you're handing over deliverables to people who didn't know they were going to get them, don't want them, don't know how to use them, don't have time to accept the handover. That can cause conflict. So that's the point of handover conflict. And there might just be conflict between you and the project team about how to get things finished, what needs to be finished, whether or not between you and the sponsor, are the deliverables what they expected, are they what they wanted, and how are you going to prove that, and how are you going to basically get off this project and get on with your life managing something else. So team conflict at this point can be a lot around tidying up lingering issues, trying to close things down, making it possible for people to move on. Don't want to leave any lingering, festering conflicts between the point that you close the project and go on to the next thing. Okay, so all of those things can cause conflict on a project team. Throughout the project lifecycle, you'll see different trends for the type of conflict that's coming up time and time again. So hopefully that gives you a few pointers as to where you should be looking for this kind of conflict, and give you a warning about the kind of things that you might face at different points in the life cycle. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.